This is THV 11 News at 6.
Andrew McGann, the man accused of stabbing 2 hikers earlier this year at Devil's Den State Park, back in court just days after his lawyers asked prosecutors to take the death penalty off the table. Hello and thanks for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Faith Woodard.
And I'm Brooke Buckner. They argue the death penalty is unconstitutional, saying it's, quote, cruel and unusual punishment. But it's not the only thing they're asking the judge and prosecutors to consider. The motion to remove the death penalty was one of 19 filed Wednesday, all of which have to be discussed before the trial can move forward. And because of that, prosecutors say it will be a long, drawn-out process that will likely take years.
Getting this case to trial, as I've said before, will take a little longer than what everybody expects. A case of this nature, on average, takes a couple of years to get to trial. I obviously would like to do that as fast as possible, but that's the typical course on these cases.
The other requests range from access to incarceration records and digital evidence to requiring investigators to preserve their notes. Prosecutors can't say much about the request due to a gag order, but they do say they are still pursuing the death penalty.
There were 19 motions actually filed. The remainder are all a form of challenging the death penalty that are typically litigated in any case where the death penalty is being sought by the state. The state will respond to those motions 10 days before our next hearing.
The next court date is set for January 15th, and that will be another continuation hearing. That's just 11 days before a jury is set to hear the arguments in the case involving Aaron Spencer.
And last night we told you how prosecutors believe he planned the murder even before he found Fossler with his daughter. But tonight Spencer's defense team is responding, saying that's not the case. Now they claim Spencer fully cooperated with law enforcement during the initial investigation and never acted violently towards Fossler until finding his daughter in his truck.
They also argue the state must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Spencer did not act in justified defense of his child because a state law that allows a parent to use deadly force if they believe their child is at risk or serious harm.
All right, but before we get to the forecast, a quick heads up for anyone planning a hike at Pinnacle Mountain next week. Arkansas State Parks may be conducting a prescribed burn next week, weather permitting. The controlled burn is scheduled for Monday through Thursday and will close parts of the park trails, so make sure to plan ahead.
I have a little rain in the forecast for next week, of which we'll get to here in just a few moments. Every so often, we bring special guest weathercasters on during our 6 o'clock newscast to help me provide a look at your forecast. Yeah, this is little Orrin Cowden. I shouldn't say little. This is Orrin Cowden. He's big man on campus. Cabot Middle School North, right?
Uh-huh.
Who's your teacher?
Miss Saunders.
Say hi to Miss Saunders.
Hey, Miss Saunders.
Okay. Who else would you like to say hi to?
My grandma and grandpa. Mimi
Okay.
and Papa, yeah.
Mimi and Papa. I had a Mimi and Papa as well. That's what I called them. Yeah. So they're watching tonight.
I
Okay?
guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they are.
All right. Are you ready to do some weather with me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So Orrin's going to help us here in just a few minutes with what's going to happen this week. Let me cover what's going on right now with our current numbers. Beautiful evening to go out to a football game or even to head over to Little Rock Zoo for Glow Wild at the zoo. Temperatures are currently running in the upper 60s and 70s. Tonight, our game of the week is Lakeside at Searcy. It's week 1 of high school football playoffs, and they're going to fall back from the middle 60s into the lower to mid 60s in Searcy. The rest of your weekend forecast, of which we'll get a little deeper into in just a few minutes. A warm one with dry weather, but that's going to change. We have rain in the forecast. Orrin's going to tell you all about it in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Tom and Orrin. Walmart is about to enter a new era as the Arkansas-based retailer announced its CEO is retiring next year. Doug McMillan started off as a store associate and climbed the ladder to eventually become CEO in 2014. Since then, the company's stock has risen 300%. John Furner, who heads Walmart's U.S. operations, will take over as company CEO in February. McMillan will stay on board until next summer and will be an advisor to Furner through the 2027 fiscal year.
Well, changes are also going to be taking place at Philander Smith University as they've announced they have received their largest single donation in school history. The $19 million comes from philanthropist Mackenzie Scott, who has donated hundreds of millions of dollars to historically black colleges and universities in recent years. According to the university, the donation is unrestricted, which means the school can make its own choices about how to use it. We spoke to current students and alumni who say it's great news, especially during homecoming week.
We are rich in history and religion, and it's just small and intimate to us, and we're pouring into the community, so we just expect the same.
I would definitely advise others to always come back to support the colleges, to give back. We want to make sure that others are able to get this same education that we were able to receive.
In a statement, the university says the Board of Trustees and school leadership will decide the best ways to use the donation, but some initial ideas include expanding student scholarships and financial aid options and campus renovations, including improving residence halls for students.
City Year Little Rock celebrated its annual Red Jacket dedication today, honoring young adults who commit full-time to tutoring students in math and literacy. Corps members work alongside teachers in Little Rock and Jacksonville schools, helping students reach or exceed their learning goals.
The Red Jackets symbolize their service and dedication to something greater than themselves and has a legacy dating all the way back to the 80s.
Our Red Jackets is a symbol of our service to something greater than ourselves. And so Corps members for the last 20 years here in Little Rock have been wearing Red Jackets. And today we dedicate these Red Jackets to service greater than ourselves. And so it's a symbol of trust, it's a symbol of consistency to our students that we serve every day.
City Year is currently accepting applications for next year's program, and donations to support local schools are always welcome.
It's a story all of Arkansas followed for months, and now Dierks High School in Southwest Arkansas are the champions.
They won a contest put on by T-Mobile to get $1 million for a brand new football field. And tonight, THV 11's Carter Thweet shows us the celebration in the town of 1,000, making its mark on the national stage.
In Dierks, Arkansas, the signs are everywhere.
It really put Dierks on the map.
But this story doesn't start here with a country music star and an NFL legend visiting the school. It starts earlier this year with lifelong Dierks resident Crystal Green sitting on the couch drinking a cup of coffee.
I saw Rob Gronkowski come over the news talking about this contest, and I sent a picture of my screen to my sister and I said, we gotta enter this thing.
But Green never could have predicted what happened next. Senior linebacker Mason Smith watched as politicians like Governor Sanders and celebrities like Jeff Foxworthy told people to vote for Dierks.
After we won the 5,000, it was really starting to set in, like this could be real. This could be something that could change our program.
And when the votes were tallied, the little town in Arkansas had toppled the entire country. Nearly 2 million votes. And at a pep rally Friday, they celebrated.
I still can't believe this is real. This is the biggest thing that's ever happened to the town of Dierks.
T-Mobile pulled out all the stops. Country music star Bailey Zimmerman performed the national anthem and a 30-minute concert for the kids. And if you know football, and especially the New England Patriots, you'll know this guy who showed up to say congrats.
You guys brought the passion. You guys brought the community together. You guys brought the votes. You guys brought it to where the whole entire nation felt it.
It's a day all those in Outlaw Nation will never forget.
This really changed the game. It made you feel, made us feel special, made us feel noticed, like we're not too small to be noticed in a big setting.
In Dierks, Carter Thweet, THV 11 News.
And the celebration isn't over. T-Mobile says after all the upgrades are made to the team's football field and weight room, they plan to have an unveiling ceremony, which they expect to happen in August or September of next year.
Sticking with high school sports, today marks the first day of playoffs in the football world, and there are plenty of big-time games set to take place. THV 11's Nick Luttrell is at our game of the week in Searcy as they host Lakeside. Nick, what can we expect for round one of the high school football playoffs?
Well, Brooke, rarely do we see a matchup of this caliber in the first round of the state playoffs, but that's what we've got tonight in our game of the week between Searcy and Lakeside. Two explosive teams, two of the best teams in the Class 5A, but just because of the way that things worked out in the past few weeks, they're both playing each other in a game that maybe should be in like the semifinals of the state playoffs. It's in round one, and it's going to be an exciting one. We'll tell you more about it coming up a little bit later in sports.